You are listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live.
Hello and welcome back to the Claret and Blue podcast. I'm your host, John Townley, and today I'm joined by Ashley Preece to look ahead of Aston Villa's Premier League clash with Leeds on Friday night. Ash, how are we?
Yeah, I'm in the Balfrey, so don't tell anyone. I'm doing some skating. Alex Moreno just walked past. Alex, all right? Yeah, I've just popped into the Balfrey for French TV. Wanting me to interview me on Emi Martinez's antics at the World Cup final. So of course I was backing Martinez. He was fine. He didn't mean anything by it and all this. So they tried to put me into a corner, but I thought Emi. I had Emi's back, and so that's why I'm here. A little bit of a TV cameo for me, and just seen Emery's press conference. Yeah, about an hour ago now. So Emery's talking about the transfers and stuff. So yeah, busy afternoon.
Yeah, busy afternoon, as you say. I should just come through from Emery's press conference. Obviously, it's been a rough few days for Villa, at least on the pitch.
Yeah,
he was furious after Stevenage, wasn't he? What was the sort of mood like? How was he today?
Yeah, I mean, last week after Stevenage, I thought I'd tap out the whole transcript because he was fuming. He was absolutely livid with that one, and yeah, he was pointing fingers at that final 10 minutes. But it was before that, he was just coasting through a game, and you're going to get beaten, aren't you? And Villa did. So I suspect it'll be extra hours on the training ground this week, a bit of extra video work as well, and he's got stuck into him. So yeah, tough taskmaster Emery, and he'd have been punishing him a little bit this week, and rightly so for me, given what we witnessed last week. So yeah, back to winning ways. Hopefully tomorrow, lift that mood a little bit, because obviously, as you've seen, Johnny wasn't happy with the Wolves' performance either. So 2 bumps in the road back to back off the back of that brilliant Tottenham win. And here we are needing a win on Friday. I mean, tomorrow, Villa haven't won a home game since Emery's first one in charge. So it's rolling into 10 weeks now. It's a long time since last won a game at Villa Park. So here's hoping tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing that, as you mentioned, obviously they've been on the training ground and whatnot. But Villa have had like 6 weeks off from the World Cup, Saudi Arabia, or wherever they've been, in Dubai, in the UAE. Do you think it's probably a good thing that the games are going to come thick and fast now? You know, straight after Stevenage, it's Friday night against Leeds, a tough team to play, although they are, in the bottom half of the table, Leeds. But it's a good test and something that, Villa should be up for. Packed Villa Park, Friday night, should be a good atmosphere. It's probably the perfect game to come back into it and hopefully get a result, I should say. Yeah,
I mean, it could work both ways though, John. It's the first game on the Friday night. We could be mulling over that for a while until that Southampton game the following week. So, yeah, Leeds haven't won in 6 either. So, what could go wrong, John? I'm not filled with as much confidence as I was before, but we should be getting the job done against your Leeds. Your sides below Villa in the table. Villa have done well, haven't they? They're punching above the weight against your Man U's and Liverpool's, even Brighton. They were fantastic. But see, these teams below Villa now, they struggled against Wolves, didn't they, in the first 45? And they need to put Leeds to bed tomorrow. They really do.
Yeah, so we'll go on to the presser, shall I say? Can't get my words out. Any main takeaways, Ash, from the press conference? I know a lot of stuff's embargoed for us, written a lot later on. There's a line that's come out about something that Unai Emery has basically said to him, you can leave. We don't know if that's to go back to Sevilla or to find another club in general so he can play. But what are your thoughts on that initially?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's open to Ludwig leaving to another club as well to find some first-team minutes, but he wants to keep as many as around at the moment, giving it to the next 2 games at least. I think Sanson's in that same bracket as well, John. I'll have some quotes on Sanson tonight regarding that. But he was asked about, I didn't see the broadcast section, John. You've seen that about Guendouzi. How did he back that away?
Yeah, funny enough, he was obviously asked about it directly. Most managers won't, play. He didn't to start, and then he did name drop him. So it's clear the Villa are interested, and he's a top target this window. I think the main point for that is that a few need to probably leave. I think he was saying that obviously Cameron Archer's gone, Augustinsson's going to go, we presume, and the squad probably needs a bit more trimming. So as you say, Sanson eventually. Nakamba probably doesn't have a future at the club, so might be one for later in the window, perhaps. Although we are halfway through January, aren't we already?
Yeah.
So potentially, if a few players leave, especially in that midfield position you just mentioned, then it's a possibility that Guendouzi can come in. Villa have got the money to pay, but Marseille won't, sell him cheaply. I think Guendouzi is probably open to it as well, being Emery, being the Premier League. They don't have Champions League football anymore, do they, Marseille, this season? So it's probably quite attractive for him. although Marseille are quite close to the top of the league in Ligue 1. But yeah, he didn't bat it away as such. But at the same time, obviously, your manager's not going to talk about players that aren't his own, I suppose. Anything else that was mentioned in the press conference, Ash, that's worth a line?
Just about his transfer business, really. It may be 0 players coming in, or it may be a fair few. He's only interested in really improving the starting 11, and if good players are available, not just signing players for the sake of it. That's the general takeaway. Just like on Guendouzi, John, have Marseille responded to the talk?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, the president's just come out and I said just probably last night that he said it. What did he say? He said no approaches have been made yet. Probably contrary to a couple of reports, he said that Villa have made a bid, but their president says no. He claims that there's been no approach to the club, but he says that he doesn't know if Villa have approached the player and his representatives as well, which seems to be the suggestion that Emery has already spoken to Guendouzi and Villa have already made an approach to his agents, which is how a transfer works in 2023. And then the club are probably the last people to know about it. So yeah. As far as Marseille are concerned, there's been no approach yet, but obviously that can change in a matter of hours, can't it?
Yeah.
So it's certainly one to keep an eye on over the course of the next days and weeks, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there'll be legs in that one. Elsewhere, he was asked about strikers as well. Does he need another centre forward? He's allowing Cameron Archer to leave, as he did last week, and he seems quite content with Ings and Watkins and Leon Bailey. So. He just wants this winger in, doesn't he? He's desperate for this winger. I thought Alex Moreno would probably be that to play ahead of Luca Dean in that midfield system because he was a winger previously. But no, he wants another. He needs attacking reinforcements. He's been every week in his post matches. He's been slamming Villa's lack of clinical edge up front and missing chances and being wasteful in possession. So he needs to sort that out. And I think we could easily see another 3 or 4 come in this month. Depending on tomorrow night's result as well. If Villa lose again, you could see that quicken as well. So we'll see what plays out. Like you say, we just edging over towards the halfway mark in the window, and business tends to be done the last week, doesn't it? Really, it's all like that last week, and Villa might have a free week now. No FA Cup game in that week as well. So yeah, lots still to do. Lots of spinning plates. And I expect Villa to be busy.
Yeah, we'll move back to the game, should we say, on Friday tomorrow. Updates, Ash, I think it's quite a few actually. John McGinn, Matty Cash, the 2 notable ones, and then there's a couple of more lines that you've got. Yeah,
John McGinn, I think he'll probably miss the Southampton game as well next week. He's grade 2, I was told. So anything between 4 to 8 weeks with that one. So hopefully he'll be back in February, McGinn. So a pretty bad one he's suffered. I hope he's back next week. I'm not too sure, but it's not a good one. He hobbled off against Tottenham, as we know. Matty Cash has picked up a fresh groin injury. So it's not his hamstring injury that had him out previously. So fingers crossed he gets through, and he's a doubt for tomorrow. So I'll probably say Ashley will probably start ahead of him anyway on that right back spot. But hopefully he's back soon. Augustinson, he's done his ankle. He's not available tomorrow. Diego Carlos back next month as well. So that'll be a boost then. Leander Dendoncker is suspended, as we know, John. 1 game ban for him. Stupid red card, that one. What else? And you got them players who are walking the suspension tightrope, as we call it. Mings, Ramsey, and Leon Bailey. So hopefully they don't pick up a card tomorrow. Yeah. And obviously Alex Moreno as well, of course. Forgot about Alex. Yeah. Alex. He was waiting for paperwork, Villa. They're waiting for the green lights on that one. I think it was done before the deadline yesterday. Today, 12 noon it was announced yesterday, as we know. So just waiting for that international clearance, that visa, that work permit. And Emery says he's hopeful.
Okay, well, that's interesting. I'd be surprised if he starts, but at the same time, if it's Emery's man, I don't think he's going to need weeks and weeks of training to fit into the system. It seems to be a specialist of what Emery wants. What about Carlos Ash? You said he'll be back around February. Do you think it'll take him the month of February to get back up to speed? You would have thought so after a long injury life he's had. I do think it's a positive that it isn't a 9-month to 12-month job. It's been 6 months, which is probably the least amount of time that it takes to get over snapped Achilles. So I think that's a positive if we look like that. And he's always been he's been posting loads of videos, hasn't he, of him training at Bodymore. He's clearly stuck around. I know that even when Steven Gerrard was the manager, he wanted him to continue being a leader around the place. And for everything we've seen so far, he seems to be as much in the group as what he was before, if not, more so. So when he comes back, barring that injury, hopefully it's almost like a seamless transition for him.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, he brushed up on his English as well. His English will be better. He'll be more lessons for that as well, which is a plus. Yeah, so Achilles is a dodgy one, isn't it, really? You do a lot with your Achilles. You leap off to get you win your headers. You sprint off with it as well. So I think it'll take him a bit of time, Funnily today, I think Emery said 1 to 2 months with him now, whereas before it was always February. Penciled in, so maybe he's taken a bit of a setback with that one. But yeah, I think he'll need time. I really do. And at that stage of the season, are you going to be swapping your centre backs too often? I'm not quite sure. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on Diego with that one. Yeah, it's a tough injury. I think Benteke snapped his Achilles as well, didn't he, at Villa as well? So it can be a nasty one.
Yeah, we'll move on to the predicted 11 for the Leeds game. Many changes you would have thought from the Stevenage debacle. Potentially almost a new look team in many ways, especially in the defence and the midfield. You would have thought Martinez obviously comes back straight in. The back two, as we've mentioned, Contra and Mings, you would have thought that they're going to stick around up until the end of the season. Fullbacks, we've mentioned Ashley Young, you would have thought.
Yeah.
Would have, especially if Matt Cash is down. Fullback, Luca Dean.
I think so. I think the signing might give Luca Dean a bit of a rocket up his backside. I think you might see a man of the match performance from Luca Dean tomorrow. I've seen some of the people in Alex Moreno's high fiving the lads, and he's high fiving Luca Dean. Maybe an awkward conversation there. You coming to run my shirt or what? So I think Luca Dean will start tomorrow. I think we could see an improved Luca Dean because of the Moreno signing and Moreno being on the bench and waiting for his chance. Because I don't think Lucas has had much to push him really. I think the gap between Lucas Dean and Augustinsson has been too big at times. Although I think Ludwig's done okay in recent weeks. So yeah, Luca Dean at the back, at left back, midfield. Who's in your midfield, John?
I think the two that sit probably picks itself.
Yes.
Luis and Kamara. I don't think that'll change up until we sign Guendouzi, if we do. The one, then the two further forward, you would have thought Ramsey comes back in first start in the Premier League for a few games now.
First start since Brighton.
Yeah, he's the only player. He's the best player that we have in terms of driving the ball, being able to move it. He's not electric quick, but he can just say move the ball, take players out of the game, almost like what Grealish did a few years ago. Next to him, or the other side, should we say, Buendia?
It's a toss-up, isn't it? Yeah, Buendia probably just edging it, really. Coutinho didn't do enough, did he, last week, to push himself. Sanson did all right last week, John.
Well, I would agree, but we just haven't seen it, have we, over the last
Can't
2
see
years?
it, can you? No.
And we don't need to go over it again, but yeah, it's it's a bit of a myth. Sanson.
It is a myth.
You would have thought Buendia and Ramsey play behind the two. Danny Ings.
Ings and Watkins. Yeah, that old debate. Can they play together? We'll be doing a podcast Monday about that one. No doubt. When's the last time they played together as a two? Be a long time, I think. Started. He's always gone with Watkins and Bailey, hasn't he? Ings had a run-in. Hasn't had much of a run. So probably deserves a shout. We'll see. Liam Bailey looks shot of confidence, doesn't he, John? For me. He's probably taken out.
With Bailey, he seems to have a few weeks where he's on top of his game. I think it was almost that stretch from the Man City home game and Gerrard up until a couple of weeks ago when he scored against United. And was he injured for the Brighton game? Or no, Watkins was injured for the Brighton game. So, but in the last few weeks, he has come off the ball a little bit, and it's a confidence thing, isn't it, with Bailey? So you must feel like keeping him in the team because he's going to come back into form at some point. I think he's got to trust him. Having Ings and Watkins, it's a risk whatever you do there because we don't know if they play together yet, and clearly they were bought to play together and it hasn't worked. So I would have thought Bailey's one of those front two. Watkins and Ings is probably a toss-up. I'd probably start Watkins just to stretch the back line. And Ings off the bench is probably more useful, to be honest. So
like it was against Wolves. Yeah, I think I agree with that 11. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we'll move on to predictions to wrap up the podcast. Ash, you say it'll be quite Well, you're a bit nervous for this one, and you've put the nerves into me in the last 15 minutes. To be fair, my prediction was a Villa win beforehand, but it's a weird one with us being on TV. I know we beat Spurs away, didn't we? But Friday night at home, the Leeds just come off Stevenage. I'm probably not as confident as what I was until you said that. I will back Villa though, and I'll say I think we'll sneak a 2-1, but I don't think Leeds are as poor as what people make them out to be sometimes.
Yeah.
Jesse Marsh, they do have a style and they do have a way of playing, if nothing else. I know they've just signed a new striker as well. I think they will sign a new striker. Not been announced yet. I don't think he'll be playing against Villa. Rutter, I think his name is, nearly 40 as well, so that's a lot of money. Striker market's very expensive these days. Somerville's injured for Leeds as well, which is probably a blow for them, but they have options in attack, don't they?
Bamford's back as well. Brilliant.
Bamford's back. Yeah, and because it's Villa, that's now relevant. If it was anyone else, I would talk about it.
Exactly.
So tricky game for Villa, but if we can get a win here, then all of a sudden you're looking at, well, I know Chelsea played tonight against Fulham, which is a tough game for them, but we're only 3 points off them as we speak. And it's Southampton, Leicester. So a string of winnable fixtures in a month where hopefully we're going to boost morale, should we say, by bringing in a couple of new players. So if we can wipe away what we did against Stevenage, which we can't do that throughout the cup now, but if we can get back to winning ways, I think that'll be massive for morale, if nothing else, and for the fans. Friday night, I should say, what we don't want to be doing is dwelling on another loss for over a week. Shocker. So what do you think, mate?
Yeah, I mean, they've been booed off twice now in a row, haven't they? Booed off at half time against Wolves, booed off at Stevenage. He's going well, isn't it, down there? It's always carnage against Leeds. I know it was 0-0 in reverse fixture, but this time last season it was 3-3, wasn't it? Very, very entertaining. Friday night as well. There's something about them Friday night games that are never plain sailing. So I'm expecting an entertaining one. Hoping we brush them aside, 3-0 maybe, but I'm clutching there. I've got my Claret and Blue tinted glasses on there. I think Leeds fighting, them 1 in 6. The typical Villa, wouldn't it, to win their first win? I'll stick on the fence, John. I'm going to 2-2 carnage. 2-2 chaos. I'm frantically I'll get my player ratings all wrong as well. But 2-2.
Well, we can't. No one can get player ratings right. That'll wrap us up, Ash, because obviously we're both quite busy before the game. 20 minutes in, I think that's a good podcast. Hopefully everyone watching enjoyed, and thanks for the comments and interaction as well. Drop your score predictions in the comments, and hopefully when we talk next, it will be after a resounding victory over Leeds, and we'll be moving into the top half of the table.
Flying.
So cheers for joining me today, Ash, and thanks everyone for watching, and up the Villa.